What up, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing episode 6 of Dragon Ball Daima, and we're going to be going through what happened in this episode. Now, this episode actually had quite a bit of stuff happening, luckily. I know the last few episodes there hasn't been much stuff happening. There's a little bit of a story progression, but there isn't significant amount. This episode was kind of the same as the last few, but unlike those ones, it did have more story and a little bit more lore than the previous ones that we had. And that's the one thing I really do like about Dragon Ball Daima is we're getting more into the Dragon Ball lore and the world building and, the mythology with getting into the demon realm, which is a realm that we've never really seen before, and we're finally getting into it. We only got mentions of it towards the tail end of Dragon Ball Z with Dabura being the king there, but we didn't get to see enough about it or hear enough about how it works. All we heard is he's the strongest there and he's the king of the demon realm. And we've heard some stuff in some of the guidebooks like the Daizenshu and Chozenshu, but we haven't really seen anything in the series. And with this show being all about that, obviously we're going to be getting more into the demon realm and the cosmology because we're venturing in a completely different realm that we've never been in before, that we've heard about but just never seen too much of. And this episode specifically, compared to the last few episodes where we did get explanations, obviously, in the show, finding out that the Namekians are from the demon realm, that they left, and same thing with the Supreme Kais, they also left there and all this other stuff. But we got even more explanation in this episode specifically on how the Supreme Kais work and the Kais work. And we've had explanations before, like Toriyama in an interview stated that Supreme Kais and the Kais come from these trees that form these apparently apples or something like that, and then it bursts them, and we saw a little bit more of that. So I'm going to get into that and what was explained throughout this episode. So it starts off with how it ended in the last episode where their plane crashed, and we have Pansy working on and trying to fix it. And Goku, we have a funny scene with him talking to Grollo where he talks to him saying, "Hey, I gotta go take a poo," and that was pretty funny, but it was also funny that he keeps on saying his name wrong, and he keeps on having to correct him. And he even asked him, he's like, "You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?" He's like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Okay, whatever." And he said probably, so he went to go take shit. The royal guards that he attacked last time, they're coming after him, so he's definitely wanted. Apparently, they don't know since Goku hopped out, they noticed that, Goku did, so they know, he's the one who did that. So Grollo and the Supreme Kai don't have to worry. Neither does Pansy, but he does specifically. But then again, also the fact that he is clearly not from the demon realm due to his years being around, he would have been suspicious anyway. So it kind of makes sense. But he comes back after they leave, and then they fix the ship, and then they start flying off. As they start flying off, they find a place to land, and basically go into the cave when they to this cave so they can rest. But before that, we got a little bit of explanation on the lore a little bit more. As Pansy's kind of asking quite a bit of good questions to Shin. She's asking him about, about them leaving the demon realm, because apparently he explained the stuff. And then she goes on to talk about him and how they're born and their work. And he mentions the tree, and we see a little bit of images of coming out of the tree and saying that we have these things called the Glen trees, which basically it birthed them as fetuses and stuff, and it brought them all out. And he mentioned how, what's his name? He mentioned how the other Supreme Kai is his brother, and then the girl Anarasu or something like that, she's his sister. And Goku's like, "Wait, doesn't that make Kibito and the old Kai also your siblings?" He's like, No, that's not how it works. We all have different trees." And he mentioned something pretty interesting. He said there's 5 different types of Glen trees. I'm guessing these are the other types of Kais that are birthed. So they have the ones that birth the Supreme Kais, probably the ones that birth the regular Kais, like King Kais and stuff. Then they have the third one, which births the Grand Kais. And then I don't know about the fourth and the fifth one. Maybe the fourth one is what it breeds people like Kibito and the attendants. And then the fifth one is probably the evil Supreme Kais, or like Makaioshin as they call them. So maybe that's what it does, but he didn't go in depth into that. They didn't get to explain it enough, but he does mention that there's 5 other trees where they're born, and that they're not all interconnected, but most of them that do come from the same tree are pretty much siblings. So it's pretty interesting seeing that. We've had mentioned, like I said, Toriyama mentioned this in an interview years ago, but we just really didn't dive deep into what that really meant and how it looked like. So we got a little bit more of that. So it's not like something new, but we do got a little bit more information on it, which is, always great to see, because us as Dragon Ball fans, we're not really asking for much. We're not asking them to give us the most in-depth, intricate, deep storyline, thought-provoking things. All we're asking for is, hey, look, we love this franchise, we love these characters, we love this world, and we want to know more about it. Can you give us like a little bit more explanation on how it works, the lore and stuff like that? And I feel like for such a franchise that's so big and it's been around for so long, we just don't know enough about a lot of these characters. And we got a little bit more explanation throughout, Z through here and there, but not too much. And we got definitely more I want to say definitely, but some more in Super, though. I'll be honest, they were kind of lacking with a lot of the lore in Super. They gave us a little bit more so we understand a little more, which I liked. But I felt like it was still a little dry, like how Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z was. But this series, unlike those ones, it explains way more about the story and the characters in the world itself, which I'm really loving. So that's, I guess, one of the reasons why I really love this episode, even though there wasn't like a ton of stuff happening. The explanations with, him, and then them talking and Goku saying that, oh, so your people are kind of like plants. He's like, not really. And he's like, so that's why you guys only drink water and stuff. And that's the same thing with the Namekians. They both only drink water, but the other demons there, which they just call Majin, they do eat. They have restaurants and stuff like that. They eat and drink. So I'm guessing they eat and stuff, but the Glens and the Namekians, they are kind of more plant-like. The Namekians reproduce asexually like plants, but they do the way they birth them each other is through like eggs. I guess you can think those eggs as seeds that they open, spread out. And the Glens, they come from a tree directly, so they don't birth at all through that way. So they can only come through their to the tree through their dimension, which they said they left a long time ago. So now I'm like wondering, did since they left that dimension, are they still just popping out of the trees and leaving, or did they take these trees out of the demon realm to there? I don't know. It's a little confusing. But also he mentions, she asked him, like, why didn't your brother or your sister go with you? And he's like, well, they were very ambitious and they had their own ideas, so they stayed around here, but I left and the rest of us left. So we got a little bit more explanation of that. I think that was really interesting. I really loved it. Them just talking about, the Supreme Kais and how they work, how the second demon realm works, and how their beings come into existence, and a little bit more of like the cosmology. And it's not like anything super in depth and crazy, but it is very fun and interesting, and I really like it. And it gives a little bit more explanation on these characters and why they're doing certain things and how things work. But then they come to the cave, they're eating, they go to sleep. As they go to sleep, this one Minotaur comes up and is trying to eat them. He's trying to beat them and eat them. And Goku's like, you're a cow, right? And he's like, no, I'm not a cow. I stand on 2 feet, I talk, and I'm way bigger than a cow. He's like, you're just like you're. And then he says, I'm going to eat you guys. He's like, cows eat meat? And he's like, I'm not a cow. And he's trying to fight them. And then Grolo is like, okay, I'm going to fight you. He's like, I'm going to take you on. And Goku's like, no, sit down, let me fight him. And he's like, what are you trying to say? He's like, you're trying to say you're stronger than me? He's like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but he's like, I kind of am. So he's like, okay, you want to act like that? Let's go and, let's fight. But even before that, I forgot to mention, sorry. Before that, we got revealed who, Grolo was working for, because he was talking in the cave to them. They're asking him questions about, you're saying, Pazzy asked him, like, you're clearly from the third demon world, but you reside in the first, you said? He's like, yeah. And she's like, well, how? And he's like, oh, because I have work there and I have my boss. And he's like, well, then who's your boss? He's like, nah, it's not worth telling you. And there's no point. And you can tell that Supreme Kai is kind of like, he's obviously doubtful of him, even more so in this episode, especially saying that. It's like, why wouldn't you just say it if it isn't really a problem? But as they're sleeping, he goes out and he's on this communicating device and he's talking to this person saying, yeah, I got them here, I got them lined up, I'm setting them up. So he's revealed that he isn't a good guy. I know some people are saying that they gave a description of him. They say that he's not purely evil, but he is working for the bad guy. And I'm guessing he's doing it because he needs something from them, or he's probably just selfish, but he's not purely evil or whatever. But he is working for the bad guy, and he's working for Shin's sister, which is a little weird and it's confusing because Shin's sister was the one who implemented the idea and thought in Degisu and the other guy. I forgot what his name is. Um, Shin's brother. She was the one that implemented the thought in their mind that, well, they beat the Majin Buu and they beat Dubura and stuff like that, and they're probably going to come to the demon realm and come here and conquer it. Which we know that's not the case. But yeah, even Shin's brother was like, I don't think they're going to do that. But she was keep on like basically manipulating them to believing that was the case, and that's why they went on their plan to do that because of her. So she got them to set them up to go after them, even though they weren't going to be a threat. Then set up Grollo to be able to come there to spy on them. So she set them up with it, but then have Grollo to spy on them to get Goku to come there. I guess her plan is she wants to take over the throne. She wants to take over the throne of the demon realm and stuff like that. And she needs to get rid of Degisu because he's probably too powerful for her. They do mention that he's not as strong as Goku, but he's still definitely strong. So she's probably like knows that he's strong and that he has her brother by his side. So that's also another problem. So she wants to get rid of the problem by having him fight against a challenge that's too much for him to handle. So she kind of had to manipulate him a little bit to engaging into a fight with him, and by doing so, that will bring Goku over against him. Because normally Goku wouldn't do anything. The rest of the Z Fighters don't give a shit about the Demon Realm. They wouldn't come there. So she needed a reason for them to come there, and she needed a reason for Degisu to get into a fight with him because he is strong enough to beat Majin Buu, and she acknowledges that even though he's strong, he's not that strong. And even maybe turning them into kids is not going to be enough to beat them. And even if it is, it could at least do some damage so she can come in and take him out. So that's why she had Grollo there to come there. So she's trying to play him and probably take the throne or whatever. But also, like Shin mentioned that his sister is an evil scientist and stuff like that. Also, I forgot to mention that he mentioned, and this was stated before too, that the the Supreme Kais don't have a gender, so they don't reproduce sexually and they don't have a gender, so it makes sense. But then it's like also like, okay, they don't have a gender, but then why is the old Supreme Kai so horny for like girls and stuff like that? If they shouldn't have any sexual desires, just like how Namekian is like Piccolo, he doesn't have any romantic feelings and he finds it kind of gross and he doesn't understand it. I would have expected that with him, but maybe it's just for the joke of him being a perverted old man or whatever. But yeah, going back, I'm guessing that's her plan. She wanted to get rid of him and her brother, and she couldn't do it with her own self. She doesn't have the power to do so, but she saw Goku, who was able to do it, but she knows he wouldn't come there, so she had to make him initiate the attack so he can come there to come after him, and maybe also do something with like the Dragon Balls. She probably assumed that he might have enough power to, take the Dragon Balls and the demonic Dragon Balls and summon something. So she's probably going to use Goku and his fight to take out Desu. I'm pretty sure. I keep on saying Desu. Oh, Desu is fuck. Sorry, guys. Desu, you guys are probably like, are you an idiot? Desu is Supreme Kai's brother. Goma is the king. Sorry for that. So King Goma, he probably this is her plan to have King Goma get eliminated so she can take the throne, but also have somebody bring the Dragon Balls there so she can use it too. So probably she might intercept them while they're trying to use the Dragon Ball, the Demon Realm's Dragon Balls, and then she might do what like Oolong did, where he interrupted Pilaf before he could say his wish and had his wish. So she's probably going to interrupt and say her wish, and whatever her wish is, maybe she's going to wish for that diamond thingy or that jewel thing that he meant that Goma mentioned, where he's like, "Oh, this will give me a lot of power." She might use the wish for that and also have him destroyed. So have Goku destroy him and beat him, and then have so she I this is the way I see the plan is set them up to fight, have them fight, have this strong opponent come take out these guards to get the Demon Realm's Dragon Balls, because nobody else has been able to use this. So nobody else in the Demon Realm is strong enough. So get somebody from the outside clearly who's strong enough to beat the king so she can have the throne, and have somebody strong enough so they can have the Dragon Balls. But before they use it, she's going to intercept and then maybe wish for that crystal or that gem, whatever. And once she wishes with that or for that, not only is she going to get rid of the big threat of the king, where she can now get the position of power, but she's also steals the wish from them, so they stay children, so they're in a more depowered state, and then also get to use the wish to get the jewel that would increase her power. So now she gets rid of the king, she keeps the other thread. They got rid of the king as children, so they can at least get back to the original strength, and then also steal the wish from them to basically get the power of this thing to at least amp her power or use through her experiments. And she has Grollo on her side to fight for her, since he's basically pretty much her agent. So I'm guessing that's her plot and her plan. That's the way I see it going out, because there's no other reason for her to egg him on, and especially to work against him. Then it's like, unless she's trying to basically, take him down and stuff, and then use it for her own benefit, which it makes sense, and I think is a pretty good plan. But yeah, we have that, and then like Goku, after they're done talking with the Minotaur and stuff, and they go out to fight. They're getting ready to fight, and we see a pretty cool sequence of both Grollo and Goku fighting. He's using his magic now, which is like some weird type of energy, electricity thing. He fires at Goku, Goku dodges it. He also is able to manipulate it into like a whip thingy, which is pretty cool. But he's fighting as Goku. Goku's using his he pretty much Goku was being really cocky. He told him like, I think I can beat you with one hand. He's like, come on, man. So he's fighting him, and he's actually doing pretty good with one hand. And then as he's fighting him pretty good, Supreme Kai says he noticed when he came back from walking outside, he's kind of already suspicious, and doing this stuff is making him even more suspicious. So he tells Goku, hey, look, don't hold back. I want to see how powerful he is, and I want to see his full power, so go all out. Don't stop playing around. So Goku's like, okay, fine, I'll do that for you. He stops playing around. He takes out his bow staff to basically get prepared to use more of his power. And I think the reason why he wants him to push Grollo to use more of his power is because he obviously notices that there's something off with him, and that at some point they're going to have to fight him anyway. So if they're going to have to fight him, he wants to see how dangerous he is and what he's capable of. So if he is way more powerful than they think he is, then it might be a problem. But if Goku can handle him as a child in his child form, then they won't have to worry as much, which Goku easily did. He was able to handle him in base, but then he goes Super Saiyan as he fires one like big energy like magic attack where Goku hits and breaks. And Goku, and see, turns Super Saiyan, looks pretty cool, but he's now fighting him, and he gets right behind him and puts his hand on his back, and he could take him out, but he's just like, you know what, just give up. He's like, okay, I give up. So he realizes that Goku's way too strong for him, and then he can transform, and he's like wondering what he did, and he's like, oh, I went Super Saiyan, and they're just like mesmerized by his power, like, oh my god. And Goku's like, this is great, because I didn't even know if I could go Super Saiyan in this childlike body, so I'm happy that I could. We already knew that because we saw the trailer, but we don't know if he can go past it, because we've only seen in the trailer him going Super Saiyan 1. We don't know if he can go Super Saiyan 2 or 3 like in GT, but if he can, I think it's going to be a lot harder, especially Super Saiyan 3. Maybe he might not be able to go Super Saiyan 3, maybe towards the end of this show, because that's his best form in this show. Also, they did state Goku's the strongest in his universe, which a lot of people are saying, well, then this means that within that 1 year time span that Goku got stronger than Ultimate Gohan. We don't know that for sure. Maybe they might just be saying that, not mentioning him or forgetting about him. Who knows? But Goku at this point is stated to be the strongest, so he showed out his power, and just going Super Saiyan alone was enough to beat him. But Grollo is pretty decently powerful, but he's just nowhere near Goku's level of power, obviously. But what's the thing called? So we have that fight, and then he concedes, and then he goes with him, and then we transition back to Earth, and we see Bulma fixing the ship. As she's making the ship, they're all getting ready to leave, Vegeta's working out, and they're like, yeah, let's go. They're going on the ship, but something happens as the ship starts to have problems, and there's Glow, and then we have Bulma with surprised look on her face, and the episode just ends there. Now, I'm assuming maybe he's the guy that in the last episode where Goku met the king, and he said that one guy to transport over there, he's probably showed up and prevented them from leaving to basically give them the pin, because even though they can use the ship to fly, if they go there, they wouldn't have the pin, so they couldn't get through Warp Sama anyway, so they need the pin. So I'm guessing that's the whole thing, and that's the whole little surprise that they're trying to do. But there's quite a bit of interesting things. Also, when we see the ships in the background, when they're showing the images of the Supreme Kais getting born from the trees, we see the ships and the houses, and they look like Namekian ships and Namekian houses. So we know they're for the demon realm, but apparently it's either the other demons got their technology and stuff from the Namekians, or the Namekians got it from the demon realm itself, and then they just brought it to the living universe. Also, I'm guessing the Namekians are from the second demon world, because we do see like the structures and stuff similar to this of the Namekian similar to theirs, and it would make sense of their from there, or maybe from the first, because we do see Neva from the first, but who knows, because Grollo is also from the third and he went to the first, so maybe yeah, something like that. But most likely they're from the second world with the Glens. That's why they have similar type of builds of like plant life, um like biology, and the fact that they don't need to eat, they only need to drink water and get sunlight to pretty much survive. We got interesting explanations on that. A couple of other things. It was pretty, fun and entertaining. There's some funny moments in it. The action was pretty decent. We're progressing the story a little bit further. I know a lot of people might be thinking it's slow, but it really depends on how many episodes there is. If it's like a regular length, like of a show, like where it's like 21 episodes, then it's not too much. But if it's like one of the more modern shows where it's like shorter, like 12 episodes, it's like, yeah, we're at episode 6. It's kind of slow. Then if that's the case, that would be like only halfway through the series. But I'm really enjoying it, if I'm being honest. I really like this episode the most because, besides the first episode, because we got a bunch of explanation, we got some funny stuff, and we got some pretty cool fights. We also finally got to see, Grollo and why Shin's so suspicious of him. We saw like the fact that he is kind of like a bad guy, and is giving a little more cool, like in-depth story, because we have this whole like plot now from her, from Shin's sister. And then we also are going to have the rest of the crew coming in soon. So the next episode is going to be focusing on them, and then them coming to there to help them out with the plan and the journey. But right now they're trying to go to the first. I'm thinking they're going to go to the second. We're going to see the journey there, get a little bit more explanation, and learn more, because they did hint at it and they talked about it. So I think we're going to get to see more of the Supreme Kais and how they work, which I'm really, really happy about, because like I said, one thing that we wanted as fast for so long is to learn more about the lore, the story, the mythology, and we haven't really got enough world building in Dragon Ball, and luckily in this series we were getting it. Sadly in Super, that's what I was hoping, but Super, a lot of it was just like, we didn't get anything new. It was some new stuff, but most of the stuff, it was just giving us just new fights. That's it. It wasn't giving us more explanations, whereas this show is definitely diving into the, the world building and the lore itself, which I really love. And I love learning more about how the Dragon Ball world and cosmology works in general. It's just interesting. And I like seeing the story, the way it's progressing. But like I said, it is going a little slow. I would hope that it will go a little bit faster, because they are going a little bit slower there. But I think they're trying to slow down because they're trying to get the rest of the crew there and have them meet up, and then they're going to go faster throughout these worlds. But I can't wait to see the next second and the first one, and see how those worlds work. Because the first one just seems like it has a bunch of low-level delinquent demons and Grollo and stuff like that. And then it seems like the other two are going to be higher in regards. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was a pretty good episode. The fight was pretty good. I like the reveal of his boss. I didn't see that coming. I also like the explanation where he was giving about his people and the lore. I just like that part. I hope they do more of that, and that's one of the things I really positively like about this series, is that they're diving more into the lore that we care about. So hopefully this show gives us way more explanation on how everything works and how the franchise is as a whole, because I'm really enjoying that aspect. But I do wish that they pick up on the story, in the main story itself, more. I know it's simple as just getting the Dragon Balls and then trying to get Dende back and then fighting against him and fighting against these Guardians, but I think they should pick up the pace a little bit more, because a lot of people are getting annoyed. Also, I've been seeing people making theories talking about how Shin's sister looks like Toa, and how Grollo looks like Mira. I don't think they're going to be Toa and Mira, but they do have similarities, especially Grollo. He looks exactly like Mira. But his sister doesn't look exactly like Toa, though she is a scientist like her, who created Mira in the Dragon Ball Online game first, then to Xenoverse and stuff like that. But that's going to be pretty interesting to see that. I can't wait to see more of that. Maybe they might do something like that, or maybe they just might, give us, it might just be like a homage to that, and it just be like, hey, look, see, here goes some fan service. But hopefully there might lead into that, because that would be pretty cool. And I just like the demon stuff. I think it's pretty fun. which the direction they're going in. But like I said, I do wish they pick up this story a little bit more because they are going a little slow. Like because this episode, what really just happened is the ship crashed, they fixed it up, they flew, they explained some stuff, they landed in a cave. We had him just talking, and then we had uh suppose they were supposed to fight the Minotaur, but then they didn't. They just had Goku versus Grollo, and then they transitioned back to Earth and them preparing the ship and almost leaving before they, like I said, they got intercepted. But it's coming along pretty interestingly. I just want to know what you guys think about it. Do you guys think it's a little slow? Do you guys are just enjoying the ride? Do you want it to pick up faster? Because for me, I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I do think it's slow, and I do wish it picks up faster. But also on the other hand, I'm actually enjoying these episodes. I don't feel like a lot of other people who are just completely disappointed, but I do wish it would be a little bit faster. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.